Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Kaya Carmona.
And I'm Jordan Taylor. Welcome to National Sports Entertainment News. Well, if you've traveled around campus this weekend, chances are you didn't have to move much to find action going on. So we're going to start off on the gridiron, where fans had the first opportunity to see the Blue Raiders in full action in the blue and white game. Logan Kilgore gathers the offense to get ready, with Coach Stockstill looking on. Kilgore takes the opening snap and completes a deep pass. 4 plays later, Kilgore takes the snap, looks downfield before connecting with number 9 Kyle Griswold for the 21 score in the back of the end zone. Freshman Austin Grammer got his opportunity later on and did not disappoint. Grammer takes the snap, drops back, and nails Chris Perkins, who gets nailed in the end zone but is able to hold on to the ball. Later in the second, Kilgore takes the snap and hands off to William Pratcher, who sprints down the field 65 yards, untouched, all the way to the end zone, extending the blue team lead. Grammer takes the snap, fakes the handoff, and sneaks 17 yards for the score. Or did he? The referees call him out at the 3, which leads to this 3-yard cross pattern from Grammer to tight end William Wilson. At halftime, the Blue Raider faithful went onto the field and created a Human CUSA banner to welcome the Blue Raiders into their new conference. The game ended with the blue team winning 52-40, and some of the players and coaches talked about how their spring had been for them.
But I think this summer is critical for both sides of the ball, player-wise, that we continue to improve.
The Blue Raiders opened the 2013 season at home against Western Carolina on August 29th.
Traveling across the street now, the baseball team was in action for the second time this weekend. The Blue Raiders began a 3-game series Friday against Florida International Panthers. That double play was just the beginning of another tough match for the Blue Raiders. They gave up this triple down the third baseline in the second inning, scoring the Panthers' first run on the play at the plate for Florida International. They went on a win for the game for 7-4.
Switching from hitting to kicking, the Lady Raiders soccer team took the field Saturday to wrap up their spring season. The Lady Raiders in blue took on the alumni team in yellow Saturday, which is a fun way for them to wrap up this semester. The teams traded goals before ending the game tied 2-2. The team finished their spring season with 4 wins and 1 tie. They also finished last season as co-Sun Belt champions, but they were not able to make the NCAA tournament. The women's team are graduating 2 seniors, but they will also be welcoming 13 new faces to take their place.
The track and field team took home 4 titles in the Vanderbilt Invitational last weekend. The men's 4x100 meter relay team was won with the gold with 41 points in 41 second time. Emmanuel Trujizmi crewed past the field by 8/10 in his 400th meter win. The track team also posted 5 runner-up medals.
The Tennessee Volunteers are headed to Murfreesboro to take on Middle Tennessee inside Reith Smith Jr. Field tonight. On the mound for the Blue Raiders will be Paul Mitura as he faces off against Tennessee's Blake Thomas. Middle Tennessee is currently 2 games above 500 at 22-20, while the Volunteers are at 17-21. The first pitch happened at 6.
The MTSU men's golf team started out hot in the opening day of the Sun Belt Conference tournament. The Blue Raiders finished the day 7 shots over par, putting them into their tie for the third. The team was led by Lucas Armstrong, who shot a 69, just 1 shot behind the lead. The Raiders are hoping they can continue their strong play in the final days of the tournament. Still ahead on NSEN, how are the NBA playoffs turning out?
And who are the best rated NFL players for Thursday's draft? That's coming up next on National Sports Entertainment News.
I'm Brianna Sturm. The Knicks and the defense are not 2 words you hear in the same sentence, but as of Saturday, defense was the main thing happening at the Garden. The Celtics blew the Knicks out with Jeff Green's 20 points, putting the Celtics at 53 points and 53% shooting in the first half. But the Knicks followed with an answer in the second half with dominance in the paint and gaining easy possessions from the Celtics' 21 turnovers in the fourth quarter alone. Carmelo and the Knicks held the Celtics to 25 points after the half and only 8 in the fourth, leading them to their 85-78 win over Boston. It may be too soon to say, but defense is what wins championships. And with this type of game, it looks like the Knicks are well on their way. They will be back at the Garden tonight for Game 2.
The NFL draft the last few years has been fueled by offensive talent like Andrew Luck and RG3. This year is totally opposite. In a league that gets its tickets sold from offensive stars, defensive players will rise this year as the most elite players in college football. Arguably the best player in the country coming out of the Georgia Bulldogs is outside linebacker Jarvis Jones. Jones led the country with sacks this year with a 13.5 and is considered the safest pick in this year's draft. He's big, physical, athletic, and brings a certain swagger to the table that most defensive players don't. Two wild cards that could end up being stars in the NFL are Manti Te'o and Tyrann Mathieu. Now the Honey Badger, as most people call him, has the potential to make an impact his first year in the league on punt returns and kickoff returns. He even has the potential to become a shutdown corner and a legendary dime player. Te'o has been scrutinized lately since the truth emerged about his invisible girlfriend. Even after a pedestrian combine 40 time and a bad game against Alabama, expect for the 4-year Notre Dame starter to be an elite linebacker in the NFL. Offensive players will still have a chance to shine this year, but it will be the big boys from taking the shine from the quarterback, running backs, and wideouts. Look for Texas A&M offensive tackle Luke Joeckel to be one of the first names called off the boards. Joeckel did something not many offensive linemen can claim, stepping in and starting at left tackle as a true freshman at a BCS conference school. He started all 38 games and 3 years at Texas A&M. Alabama guard DJ Flucker is a mammoth at 6'5", 335, and has the strength to take out any defensive player in his way. This year's draft has a lot of sleepers and players you least expect to emerge as NFL talent.
Kevin Durant and the OKC Thunder silenced their former teammate James Harden in Sunday's playoff opener. Durant scored 24 points and definitely was not backing down from gaining any possessions. The Thunder came back from an 11-point deficit in the first half and maintained control after a 14-1 surge before halftime. The dominance of the game continued after a massive two-handed slam from Durant, and soon the team was up by 30, leaving the Rockets 15 points below their regular season scoring average. Harden walked away with only 20 points in the Thunder's 120-91 win. Game 2 is set for tomorrow at home for Oklahoma.
Now Justin Beasley has an in-depth look on what is going on play-by-play in both the Major League Baseball and NBA seasons.
We'll start with the Lakers and Spurs. Dwight Howard a big factor in how this series shapes up. Second quarter now, Tony Parker at the elbow finds Tim Duncan all alone for the easy jam. Duncan had 17 on the game, finished with a double-double, and the Spurs are up 9. Third quarter now, Nash blocked by Thiago Splitter, pushes it ahead to Parker. 2-on-1 for the cross-court layup. Spurs increase their lead to 12. With 8 ticks left in the third, Corey Joseph passes it across the timeline to a wide-open Manu Ginobili. Ginobili sinks it. He had 18 points and only 19 minutes of play. Lakers now cutting into the deficit. Metta World Peace alone, but blocked by Kawhi Leonard. Parker then finds the racing Leonard down court for the easy layup, and the Spurs go on to win by a score of 91-79. In the world of baseball, the Cardinals and Phillies facing off on Sunday Night Baseball. Cardinals up 1, 3-2 count for Lance Nix. Hits this one into an alley down left center field. Eric Kratz all the way from first, rounds third for home. The throw will not be in time. 3-3 ball game. Bottom of the 8th now, runners on the corners. Ben Revere singles to center field. Michael Young will score. The Phillies go up 1, but there's more to come. On the very next pitch, Eric Kratz sends this one nearly 400 feet into the left field stands for a 3-run home run. Phillies go up 4. Phillies win 7-3.
Thanks, Justin. Now, he will be in studio to join us next week.
Still ahead on NSAN. How is the entertainment world doing in sports? Parrish Hodges will discuss this.
And Phil Layton will talk about the mixed martial arts world. That's coming up next on National Sports Entertainment News.
Welcome back. I'm Parrish Hodges.
And I'm Phil Layton.
More drama unfolds in this week's sports entertainment. So last week, I gave you the story on Kerry Rhodes where he was denying being gay after pictures surfaced stating otherwise. This week, the mysterious guy in the pictures has spoken. Russell Simmons went to Bossip.com for a tell-all interview where he says he played the role of the wife and took care of Rhodes' personal needs. He also exposed more pictures and text messages from Kerry to Bossip. While some players will support Rhodes if he's gay, some will not. Marcus Vick made a tweet calling the Cardinals player a fruit tart. Sources close to the Cardinals player says he's engaged to a woman he's been with for over 10 years, though no one has ever seen or heard of her. Sports broadcasting legend Al Michaels was arrested Friday on DUI charges. He made an illegal U-turn at a DUI checkpoint at around 10 p.m. Though barely passing the sobriety test, he was released the next morning. Sources say he was very nice to the police. Michaels was the play-by-play man for Monday Night Football for 20 years before moving to Sunday nights. Kim Kardashian is divorced and can now live her life happily with Kanye. The divorce was settled in court Friday, and Kris Humphries walked away with nothing. Kris had previously asked for $7 million but decided to drop it for an annulment based on fraud. He almost got hit with the financial penalty by the judge for not showing up to court, but Kim asked the court to drop it. Laker fans are still getting over the fact that Kobe will be off the court for a while, but that didn't stop him from tweeting about Sunday's game against the Spurs. There were tweets of encouragement, strategy, and frustration. Bryant offered many suggestions which made Lakers coach Mike D'Antoni roll his eyes. D'Antoni says it's great to have commentary, but Kobe is just a fan right now. That's it for this week's sports entertainment. Be sure to join us next week. Reporting live for NSCN, I'm Parrish Hodges.
April has been an exciting month for boxing, and Saturday only added to the excitement. Austin Trout and Sal Alvarez both entered the ring with undefeated records, but only one would leave undefeated. In a crowd of over 40,000 fans, Alvarez won the bout in a unanimous decision, which makes his record now 43-0. Now that Alvarez is now considered one of the elite boxers in the sport, what does the future hold for the young boxing star? Maybe a rematch with Trout, or go for the major payday and try his hand at boxing history and hand Floyd Money Mayweather his first loss. With the end of April approaching and the top to bottom stacked, the UFC on Fox 7 event is officially over, and it's time to check the rankings to see who moved up and who moved down. Johnny Hendricks breaks into the top 10 with a winning streak that includes Josh Koscheck, Martin Kamen, and most recently Carlos Condit. Hendricks is in line to face welterweight kings George St. Pierre, while St. Pierre is still a big favorite, but Hendricks certainly looks the part of St. Pierre's most dangerous opponent to date. Dominic Cruz has moved to the number 7 spot after having been missing in action for over 18 months, mainly because Cruz has beaten just about every fighter to have even a little bit of success at bantamweight over the last few years. Topping off our top 5 will be no other than Benson Henderson. Since joining the UFC, Henderson has absolutely dominated ranked opponents in Jim Miller, Clay Guida, and Frankie Edgar. There's no denying that Henderson keeps getting wins over some of the best fighters in the world. He is more than deserving of this spot. Coming in at our number 3 spot, believe it or not, is light heavyweight champ John Bone Jones. The success and domination of John Jones is something never before seen in the UFC, running through former UFC champions Rashad Evans, Quentin Rampage Jackson, and Shogun Rua, like they were ranked amateurs. In a painfully shallow division, John Jones has already demolished almost every potential contender in his path. Because of John Jones' dominance, he could reasonably have been slotted into the 2nd spot, but he comes in 3rd just because he is yet to match the lengthy streaks of our top 2 fighters. Which brings us to our number 2 fighter, George St. Pierre, who is normally behind John Jones in rankings, but after beating Carlos Condit and demolishing Nick Diaz last month, he finds himself securely cemented in our number 2 spot on the list. And at number 1, who else do we have but none other than Anderson Silva, who destroyed every middleweight contender in his path en route to breaking essentially every record in the UFC history, with the longest winning streak, longest championship reign, and most title defenses. Because of his dominance, he is unanimous placement on top of every MMA pound-for-pound list, and I'm sure that surprises nobody.
Still ahead on NSCN, how has the NBA playoffs been so far? That's coming up next on National Sports Entertainment News.